All I gotta say is, could it get any wilder or weirder for me in my life? I'm going to have to recap the last few days for you folks. It's been crazy. I went on the Vinnie Eastwood show about 2-3 weeks ago, and he didn't put it up for a while, and it was all about the Super Soldier Summit, of course, and I brought James Rink on with me. And, oh my God, the repercussions of being a spokesperson for the mind control super soldier, voice-to-skull communication people out there is just mind-boggling. My computer's been hacked this week. It just broke down again on me about a half hour ago, and I had to keep rebooting it. I finally got it working again. And, of course, my website's being hacked again, and it's 8 weeks to the conference, or a little less than 8 weeks. So apparently they're after me full force again. I'm having stalkers come out and say that I'm professing to be the leader of the super soldiers, and oh my God, I want nothing to do with being a leader of anything. All I want to do is just expose the evil that is out there and bring people forward that may or may not have, because we can't prove it, folks. We can't sit here and say, oh, yes, on this date in, 1986, this person was used in this program for this reason, and that's why, and this is what happened to him. We can't do that. They're not going to let us have those that paperwork. If I could get my hands on it, if anybody out there has any proof, any paperwork, any MyLabs program, any Super Soldier program, any Montauk program, anything like that, if you guys have anything and you're dying and you just want to get it out there and let the world know, please call me. Please email me. You can find me at Lorien at DouglasDietrich.com. That's Douglas.dietrich.com. Lorien, Lorien, because I got to tell you, I'm out here, I'm on a limb. I'm helping people that have fantastical stories. And like I've said a million times over and over and over again, maybe only 1% of what they're telling us is true. Maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 20%. I have no clue. But if you've seen the movie The Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington, they put false memories in your sphere of consciousness. They make you seem like a crazy person when you talk about it. Who knows what they're doing to your mind? They do have control of your mind out there, folks. If you're watching a television, they're controlling your mind. If you're buying into the whole mortgage scam and paying for a house and going through a bank, they've got you controlled. They control you when you clock in at 8 o'clock at your job and out at 4. They control you. You are part of the problem. At least, and I gotta stick up for myself, because I am just so tired of being attacked for trying to get the truth out there. They are controlling all of us now. And you've got to wake up to that fact, folks. I'm sorry, usually my show's about spirituality and UFOs, and I started out this whole thing a year and a half ago with saying, oh, yeah, there's love and light, and I'd have people like Laura Eisenhower on, and, it's all fine and dandy. But, the more and more I do this, the more truth I put out there, the angrier I'm becoming, because I'm attacked and attacked and attacked. So I got to tell you, folks, I must be on to something. Because they wouldn't be going after me the way they're going after me if I wasn't at least touching upon some bit of truth. Now, if you don't believe in James Rink, if you don't believe in Max Spears, if you don't believe in Aaron Green Hicks, and you don't believe in any of these super soldiers, that's fine. I don't really care. But there is something that's happened to all of these people, including Solaris Blue Raven, who is a fantastic announcer here on Revolution Radio. Something happened to her. And she was under this electronic harassment, mind control stuff, and she'll be the first to tell you, yes, it happened to me. So if you don't believe me and you don't believe these other people that something has happened to them in their life, then at least believe Solaris, because she's out there, she's honest. I know her. She is the most amazing person out there as a spokesperson for this type of thing. By the way, she will be speaking at the Super Soldier Summit this year. So anyhow, I'm just saying, folks, if you don't believe all these people and you want to call me and harass me and tell me I'm a nut job and call me names and all this stuff and tell me how stupid I am for believing in these people, I never said I'm like down the chute believing in everybody. All I've ever said is give them a break. You know, these people have suffered, whether you guys want to believe it or not. I know them all personally. I know they've suffered in some way, shape, or form. Even like I said, if it's only 1% of what they're saying is true, my God, folks, you really should feel sorry for them. If you're good Christian, American, God-fearing people, and I don't care if you believe in, Mohammed, and I don't care if you believe in Buddha, but you got to believe in something, and there's something good out there, and there's a lot of evil out there. And that evil out there is taking over our country, it's taking over our lives, and it's taking over your mind. So wake up and stop accusing me of supporting people that are crazy. Yes, they may be crazy, but I got to tell you, folks, they're very brave at the same time for even having the stories, coming out with their stories. I'm getting so mad I can't even talk. Coming out with their stories about what's happened to them that they believe has happened to them. Now, whether it happened or not, I don't care. But it's just the fact that they even have that kind of memory. And they're brave enough to talk about it in front of people. Do you know how hard it is to talk to people about what has happened to you? I've been on, the only thing I haven't been on yet that's big is Coast to Coast. And at some point I probably will be telling my story about what happened to me. And I'm so angry right now, I could just cry. I mean, it's amazing the ridicule I get for telling my story. Now, I know that I experienced that. Whether it's real in this world or not is another whole issue, and I really don't care that people out there believe me. But they did something to me, folks, that night. They brought the helicopter over the house. There was either an alien spacecraft or some type of stealth device over that house that made the helicopter sounds. The night before, I had the memory of what might or might not have happened to me under some kind of mind control program. And I woke up the next day. I was so upset and so angry. I said, I'm going to do something to help these other people who have suffered much more extensively than I ever did. And that the Super Soldier Summit is my way to help them. And why I'm being attacked for trying to help these people, I can't understand you folks out there that are doing this to me. Now, I'm going to put on the summit no matter what, hell or high water, and I don't care how much I get attacked, but stop attacking the poor people that are coming out at the summit and telling their story and their truth. You would all be very surprised at how loving and caring and genuine these people are. And all the people that came to the summit last year that are all coming again this year, by the way, they found some profound happiness and camaraderie between all these people. So I just want you all to know that I'm very saddened by the attacks I'm getting. I'm very hopeful that all of you out there that are doing the attacking will wake up and stop being so judgmental and open your eyes to the fact that you are victims too. We're all victims. We're all victims of the mind control and the horror that goes on from the evil cabal that runs this planet, whether it's reptilians or snakes or God or a beetle. I don't care who's doing it. I don't want it to happen anymore. Do you? Do you want to be mind controlled like this? Do you want to be taken over like this? Please, folks, stop the ridiculousness and join in and help and become part of the solution instead of being the problem. You know, Facebook is a huge disaster. I don't know why you people get on there and bitch and moan and complain and gossip and talk about each other on there. There is no substitute for getting together face-to-face and learning something and expanding your mind. That's what the Super Soldier Summit's about. If you want to make it into some kind of clown show like this person emailed me today, then fine, so be it. But if you show up, that means that you have an open mind, you're going to expand your consciousness, and you're going to learn something. You're going to learn how to take back your life and control it. So, okay, I'm done. I've had such a week, folks, that I seriously was thinking about quitting radio altogether and just focusing on, just producing as many conferences as I can, Yeah, I don't know. I'm so upset today. I know you guys can all tell. Now, I got one more thing to say, and then I'm going to bring on my great and wonderful friend, Stu Webb, here in a moment, and we'll talk about all kinds of stuff for you guys today. But the one last thing I wanted to say, I had a huge MUFON day on Saturday, and it was wonderful. We were at the Sonoma Film Festival, and the person, The Hidden Hand is the name of the movie. James McCann is the person who developed the movie and produced it and filmed it. and wonderful movie. And then we moved on to the Truth Embargo. Stephen Bassett was there that day. Buckman was there. He was also at the Citizens Hearing. We had an experiencers panel, and this was all at the Sonoma Film Festival at the Sonoma Community Center this last Saturday. Then we moved over to Petaluma for my regular MUFON meeting, and I had an amazing presenter. He's a guy that's been experiencing UFOs and aliens and all kinds of things in his house, in his backyard here in Petaluma and downtown Petaluma pretty much for most of his life. And he presented, and he's written a little book, and he's just an amazing guy. We had a great time. But here's what happened. I'm sitting there, and I was just feeling ragged. Like, I was getting mad. I was just like, I'm going to quit radio. I'm going to quit everything. I'm going to quit I'm going to quit all of it, right? Just having one of those horrible, horrible days. I wasn't feeling good either, so it didn't help. So I'm sitting there, and in walked this woman, just beaming with love, a beautiful, dark-skinned woman and her daughter, and she came running up to me, and she said, Lorien, I listen to your shows all the time. You are the best thing out there. And, folks, I started crying. I couldn't believe that somebody she came to the meeting just because she'd heard my show on the other network, and I was so blessed. I felt so honored and so humbled that this person came and told me that I needed to do this, that I was good at it and that this is something I should be doing. And, folks, it was like an angel came to me. Because somehow the angels always show up at the right time, folks. They do. They show up in your life at the right time. They give you support. They keep you going. So I know I'm on the right path. I know I'm doing something right here. I know I'm fighting for the right reasons. And I just hope all of you out there that are listening to me today understand that I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be fighting like this. I wouldn't be poor. I wouldn't be almost living in my car. The only thing that keeps me going where I'm at right now are my 2 cats. And, and having to feed them, I get up, I support them, my little kitties, I keep them alive. They're my love, they're my light, and I have my angels protecting me, and I believe in a higher power, I believe in a God, I believe in something good out there, and there's a reason we're all fighting for this, so please join me, stop fighting it, I got an angel sent to me Saturday when I really needed it, and I hope all of you out there get the same thing when you need it, and I believe you will. Just, keep it up, keep the faith, fight. There is a spiritual connection between us all out there, and I really hope that you all believe that, because if you don't, I feel sorry for you. I feel sad because the spiritual connection is really the most important thing. Love is the most important thing we've got going for us. And that love connection and that getting together and celebrating the good and killing the bad and getting it out of our existence is what it's all about. And that's what the Super Soldier Summit's going to be about again this year. I hope you can make it. It would really make me a happy person. Even if you just come out of curiosity to see what Douglas and I and Solaris look like. That would be wonderful. We'd love to meet you. So I just hope you can make it. It's May 30, 31, and June 1st, supersoldiersummit.com. I'm not going to go on and on about it, but it's been such a controversy for me, and it's making my life just miserable again as usual. But I'm gonna stand tall. I'm going to make it happen, and I'm glad you guys were all listening to me today. And I really appreciate that, and thank you so much. And I'm not in the chat room today, folks. I just didn't want to go in there and see the evil that ends up in the chat room a lot. I just couldn't take it today. So anyhow, okay, back to reality and getting away from all that stuff, and just want to move on here. Okay, Stu, are you with me?
I am with you. I was going to call you Lorien Fruitcake Fenton for a minute.
Well, you would be the first this last couple weeks, let me tell you. Oh, my God.
Let's cheer you up here. Do we need to get the guillotine out? Did you make your guillotine yet?
Oh, I wish I had. I'm going to have a little one made. I'm going to put it on my registration desk at the Super Soldier Summit this year. Oh, yeah. So I have something to look forward to. Getting rid of those evil people. We got to get them out of our lives.
Yeah, I like that idea. But remember, you can always make the mini job. That's used for private parts.
Oh, dear. dear. Okay. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that, but it is actually quite funny.
I really like the acid trip, the muriatic acid, 2 gallons per body.
Oh, God. Well, we'll just have to get a Ryder truck full of that and head off to Washington, D.C. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good, except we need a bathtub. You know, we don't want to leave a mess laying around. Make it roll. It's a way of trouble down the drain.
Exactly. Well, so...
You know, Super Soldier, I want to comment. I heard this long, lengthy speech, and I'm hearing your voice cracking up and stuff, and you probably do have angels surrounding you. And I do know you. But, you know, let's take 2 of the Super Soldier Summit members, or 2 Super Soldiers that I'm aware of. One's Duncan O'Fenton. You know him.
I do know Duncan.
And another one's Dave Corso.
Exactly. And Dave is the owner of our sister station, Stu, you know that, with Spirit Radio.
Yeah. Well, I can verify because 007 ran those 2 at times in a team that did assassinations without saying no more. And then you could talk to Gene Chip Tatum. You've had him on the air. He's going to be having his new program on here. Gene is admitted to doing 17 for Ollie North and Daddy Bush, which he did put in his court case when they charged him with treason to protect himself, so he could talk about that. And, you know, there are those around.
Exactly. And you know what Gene told me, Stu?
I had a talk about a mutual friend of ours. I call him 007. Okay? And,
okay.
You know, they worked with him. So did Duncan.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, I've always known that Duncan and that crowd were all definitely for real. Oh, of course.
For real.
Definitely.
I know they're both for real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. And, Stu, what I wanted to say was when I had Gene on a show a couple of weeks ago, or when it was, he verified for me that, yes, there are super soldier programs out there, and like he and I both talked about the fact that they may not be as fantastical as all the younger super soldiers are saying, or, you know, those things may not be or be happening, but he does know that they are in place, that they do happen. So there we go.
You know, now we can go to another level that people are unaware of. But see, the super soldiers aren't really needed so much anymore because they got the robotoids. They're robots.
Exactly.
It's just like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, you know, where he's got a robot, the skin comes off, and it's all metal underneath. He looks like Arnold, you know, but all of a sudden he turns into that metal robot. That was DuPont built those in 1990. Took the contract to build them for the government. They completed that by the mid-'90s. And my friend, Area 51 scientist that, you know, is now dead, that murdered him back in October a couple years ago, this coming year, you can go to my website on the front page, and it's Ed Slade, Area 52 scientist, S4, where Papoose Lake is, the alien base, and he worked for Code Arms as a CIA scientist. He answered to Meyer Rothschild and Lawrence Rockefeller, 2 of the 12 Illuminati boys. And took direct orders from them and did the alien stuff. He designed, you know, what was known as Element 115 mu metal that these robotoids are made out of, and then he converted it to the polonium that the saucers are made out of, but a living organism. And this living organism, he told me one of the metals that they needed from it is what comes up out of Yellowstone National Park, out of the geysers, into the lake. That silver metal comes out of the deep bowels of the earth, one of the high elements, and element 118, he was able to convert it all. They make saucers out of that, so they don't have to put the, you know, this is like the space shuttle shield underneath it, and that's the polonium. It's top secret, so I'm giving away secrets again tonight, as usual. So, you know, that mu metal, it's a living organism, and it shapeshifts and moves. And it's like a roaring airplane, does the same thing in midair, shapeshifts and moves. And these robotoids look human, and they're made out of this mu metal. And they can sit there and park them in a container like the Chinese have done right here in America. Everybody says, oh, you know, we have to worry about foreign troops. You have to worry about those 200,000 robots. They made 2 million of them because Daddy Bush, after the U.S. made 1,200 of them for our arsenal, to be the first strike to go in and kill foreign leaders or whatever in a war, and they can't be killed. These robots don't get stopped, except an armor-piercing bullet to the head because they put the computer brain in there. I know about these things. And they've got black eyes in them. There's no white to their eyes. That's one of the giveaways. But they built some, the Chinese, Daddy Bush sold the technology, which is treason, sedition, espionage, as usual. Everything he does is New World Order for his Jerusalem new capital he thinks he's going to run. He sold to the technology of Chinese, and they built 2 million of them. And now there's 200,000 of them parked in evergreen containers and Costco containers sitting around lots all across America. So one day, when they decide that they're going to initiate their so-called martial law and New World Order, it isn't going to be your military. It's going to be these Chinese robots, 200,000 of them, and unless you got an armor-piercing bullet, you're not going to be able to stop them.
Do you think... Hey, Stu, I wondered when you told me this story a while back, I take it with a grain of salt because you do know the person that supposedly developed this metal, okay? So I trust you on that.
There's
what
3
I'm
audio
wondering,
tapes up there about the mu metal, and there's 3 audio tapes up there of Ed before his death that he decided to come public, and then they murdered him. When they autopsied him, or X-rayed him just before he died, probably a half an hour beforehand. Mutual friends of yours and mine told me they were at the hospital, and they said he had 2,000 spots on his brain where he was getting zapped through his telephone.
oh my God. Oh my God. Well, that's scary. But what I wanted to ask you about that, do you remember when the what is it, Department of Homeland Security or Department of Treasury was buying up all the armor? Not the armor. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just a little out of it today. They purchased all of the ammunition.
All the armor-piercing bullets they were trying to buy.
That's right.
That's right.
Now, when I heard that, my thought went directly to what you told me about these robots. I thought, oh, they're going to be the only ones who have the ammunition to kill these things. If they're for real, that would make total sense, wouldn't it?
They are real. They are real. I've seen some pictures of some stuff a friend of mine has that I can't even put on my internet site. I wish I could.
Wow. See, now you're freaking me out because, see, what I do, Stu, is I'm out there fighting this stuff, and you're telling me it's all true.
It is true. It is true. And, the only people that's telling you it isn't is either a budster. You know what a budster is?
No.
Daddy Bush calls the American people budsters. And he's right. Even though he's evil as hell, he is right. There are budsters in this land of America. He says the American people, quote unquote. He says, as long as we keep enough food on their table, a roof over their head, a car in their driveway, gas in their gas tank, and a job to go to and from our place of employment or to and from a government job where we control the government, he says we can keep the budsters at bay. Budster people, bud people, the broke, the useless, and the depressed. And those are the people that sit around Facebook posting their silly stuff all day long. And those are the trolls that sit around the internet on Lorien Fenton's chat room and so forth, many of them, trying to cause chaos or call you names or whatever, the $20 to $25 an hour troll working for either the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, Israeli Mossad, whoever, DEPCA, the Israeli Mossad, whichever one they're working for, but they sit around and get $25 an hour to harass you and make you look like a fruitcake when actually they're the budsters. They're the
exactly.
And the other idiots sit in front of the tube, watch CNN, ABC News, CNN, ABC News, Fox News. Oh, they just educate me. I learned so much from them. Yeah, right. Well, they're still hunting an airplane, and it's all over the news, and it's supposed in the middle of the ocean, and now they got a typhoon hitting there. Will they ever find it? I don't think so. It flew back to Israel after it was chased by 2 fighter jets that nearly shot it out of the air the other day when it was going to crash in with a nuclear bomb in The Hague International Court to start World War III. Now, why did it go back to Israel, the place it came from? Anybody
That's
go to
very
Veterans Day, the stories
interesting.
are up there. They're up there right on Veterans Today. Military intelligence is giving it to the American people, along with counterintelligence of the FBI, are telling the American people the truth right on Veterans Today and have been for a little over a year and a half. Solid information.
Well, Stu, the problem we've got, and I love Veterans Day. I'm there every morning. That's the first thing I do. I have my cup of coffee and I read the top 1 or 2 articles on Veterans Today if there's new one. And I think the American people are still so asleep and so mind controlled that when they see the word reptilian or they see black ops or they see the trigger words, their mind goes to sleep. I think they are so controlled that they can't see those words in print and take anything seriously from that point on.
Well, they can control a person now. They don't need to chip them. None of that. You'll hear all that chip crap coming from, we're one of the targeted individual groups. That's FBI is taking over all those groups, those so-called groups. They've infiltrated them. They got their stooges in there. I'm aware of that. And I don't want to waste my breath on the people.
Okay.
They're there. It's because the new technology, they can control you by, first of all, your TV, second, your computer, third, your phone, cell and or ground line, either one. And they can program you with electronics and radio frequencies and this new technology they got, and they can turn you into a Manchurian candidate if you don't have God on your side. I'm convinced it takes God and the Holy Spirit to stop it. I'm convinced.
Okay.
Because they don't have me as a Manchurian candidate. They would love to have me, and they're not going to get me. I might be a Manchurian candidate against them. I volunteered 50 caliber and special scope and boat to Cuba to shoot a ghost. I can't talk about shooting a ghost on the air, can I?
Well, yeah, as long as we don't bring up names or anything.
That's the ghost. Yeah.
Well, Stu, this brings up a lot of very interesting subjects, and we can go a little bit into it further on in the show. But the first thing I wanted to ask you was, if they are controlling the populace like we think they are, why is it that you... Welcome back, everyone, to the Fenton Perspective here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton, and yes, I guess it is my show, and I guess I'm sticking around. Oh boy, I'll tell you what, it's a tough, crazy world out there when you get attacked like this for such a barrage of it. It's tough. But I got to tell you all, if you are supporting Revolution Radio, I'll stick around. One of the things that's happening right now is we need money to keep the station going, and we are the only station. Well, you will hear about a Super Soldier Summit. You're going to hear about things that other people don't want to talk about. You're going to hear Stu Webb. You're going to hear things here, that just you'll not get on. I'm sorry, and I'm going to say it Coast to Coast or any of the other shows. And the reason why is because they are deathly afraid of the truth getting out there like this. Believe me, folks, I know the back workings, and I know what goes on. And there's a lot of things that we say here at Revolution Radio that we give you. Sean does it. Carrie does it. Solaris. I mean, we're all giving you the truth, and as we know it, and it's the best of our ability to dig out of people. And I honestly believe that the big-time radio shows, and I'm going to say the AJ name, which Stu doesn't like him very much, and quite a few others out there that profess to be... What was that, Stu?
Steen?
Oh, no. The AJ show, the Stu show. Yeah, I mean, why are people giving him money when Revolution Radio gives you the real stuff going on, and we really need your support?
Everybody falls for the Israeli propaganda machine.
Well, they're mind-controlled, right?
Alex Jonesteen.
I know. Tell me about it. Well, okay, folks. Stu, I got to do this plug. So the deal is, everybody, $5 a month gets you all the archives. $5 a month. I give $5 a month. I give more, but that's another whole issue here. I believe in Revolution Radio. I know you wouldn't be here listening to my show today if you didn't believe in it as well. So please, please, please dig into your pocket. Give $5 of energy to this station. And if everybody did that listens, we would really have an amazing broadcasting system here, folks. We could get to millions and millions of people. We could change the world. And I've said that a million times. And if you would all just do it, $5 a month, everybody buy an archive. Everybody buy the $100 seed pack that Nighthawk is offering. Just do something. Support the station. Give them your love. Give them your energy. Give them some money. Because money right now is love and energy, and that's our only way to keep us all here on the air. So there you have it. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for donating, and I really appreciate it. Probably, if it wasn't for you guys keeping the station here, I don't know if my word would ever, the truth would ever get out. And we certainly wouldn't have Stu Webb on as much, would we, Stu?
No, and I'll do my own donations. If anybody wants to give me $20 million, I will ensure that the 12 council members are exterminated.
Wonderful. If I had $20 million, you'd have it in a heartbeat.
That would be happy to take the contract, and that would be the end of the Illuminati.
Well, Stu, I wanted to ask you something. Before the break, we were talking about belief in God, and that is actually probably why they can't mind control you or I.
That is
because
it's the belief in God. Whether your belief is in Jesus Christ or whether it's belief directly with God, whatever it is, there's people that don't even believe in God, claiming to be atheists, claiming to be agnostics, etc. They're working on the good side.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't get, mind screwed, I call it, okay? This mind rape game that they're doing to people. I mean, people say, oh, no, this could be true. Well, it is true. If you take the Naval Yard shooter, they proved, military intelligence proved that this guy had been set off by the Israeli Mossad, who was doing it through the computers, the phones, and the internet. And they thought he was being targeted through his phones specially and all this. That was before they discovered that there was an NSA secondary base in Jerusalem, which I want to talk about these things tonight that ties into this. This is
go ahead. Why don't we talk about that now? Because I think that's very important. People need to know this.
They were able to, Daddy Bush helped them set it up. It came back to Inslaw software, the Promise software, which was the prosecutor's software. Mm-hmm. Okay, Michael Rakana shooter was in prison for 4 more years, illegally put in there by that Ted Gunderson crime syndicate stooge, who claimed to be some patriot good guy that was there to put people in jail and play the game, set them up. Well, Rakana shooter's in jail. I wrote a story about this, Promise, Inslaw. It's up on my website, stewwebb.com. In the middle column, it's on Veterans Today. It's the details about it. Well, Inslaw led to the turning of radio frequencies and light frequencies in midair. And one of the people that he was not going to like his name mentioned, but his name was Raymond Laws. And he's out there in Susie Land someplace. He was another Jason Society boy. He wrote the book called Black Sun. He's the secret author. So you just been out at Raymond because I don't like you either. He worked with Gunderson and Rakana Shootle in that FBI office. I have put up on my internet site before. Go punch in Stinger missiles. Ted Gunderson sold bin Laden Stinger missiles. It's right in that document, including a neutron bomb. Stinger missiles sold, and bin Laden was a CIA asset. But anyway, it talks about Inslaw in there. Inslaw became Promise Software. It later became, and this was the Hamilton family that it was stolen from, because the private investigator was Bill McCoy. And Bill McCoy was a good friend of mine, Gene Chip Tatum, Leo Wantas, Private Tyree, Wilson, that was, Eatsco, that was supplying the Egyptians. Bill knew everybody. He was a former inspector general inside the Pentagon. I had been a spook, assistant inspector general. And he turned private investigator. He was the most well-versed Iran-Contra, they called it, private investigator that there was. He knew everybody. He was their private investigator. I worked with him for several years, from 91 through 97 when he died. Terry Reid worked with him. He gave Terry half his book, Clinton, Bush, and the CIA, etc. He stood up public with Terry. He worked with Terry and I on a lot of things, including the Oklahoma City bombing that got him killed, connecting the Strossmayer connection.
Exactly. You know, that's something, Stu, that people need to know about. That Oklahoma City bombing has never gotten the truth out to the masses like Ruby Ridge or Waco did.
You know, I'll mention I'll talk about this intelligence report in a moment, but that was all part of it. Okay, it's the same boys that did Oklahoma City did 9/11. The Israelis. It's the American Jewish mob. It's the Israeli mafia is what it's referred to as. AIPAC. That's Millman, Mizell running here in America with Daddy Bush, period. Kissinger, Rockefeller, Rothschild. It's all part of it. And they run it right here in America. And they're controlling Israel and they're controlling America. Now, here's the deal. Inslaw software, the Hamilton family designed for prosecutors. So if a prosecutor, you know, found some criminal activity by Daddy Bush over here, say over in Boston, he puts it in the computer, and then say if they find some crime syndicate going in a criminal investigation, something going on, he puts it in San Diego. Say the prosecutor puts it in San Diego, he can pull up on his computer and see that, wow, they found Daddy Bush over here doing stuff in Boston. And then all of a sudden that was what it was designed for, to track white-collar criminals and other criminals. Well, they stole it because they found out that not only the hardware but the software could be combined, and they led to bigger things. And that's what led to the spying promise. Also, Intel chips was part of it, the Israeli Intel chips. There's been several names for the software. It keeps changing names as it's more sophisticated. That's right. Spying on everybody. It's not only the NSA, Big Brother here in America. It's the Israelis have been doing it too, except they've been using secretly the NSA satellites, computers, and everything, tapping right into it. Daddy Bush knew it. People at the top of the NSA knew about it, and others. And here it's been going on. That's espionage. That's a foreign government using and live everything about America live and the world right through us. Well, that was
exactly.
It was given to me to put up on Veterans Today, and I did it 6 weeks ago. It's caused chaos for them. Now they're getting bad information. They're not getting so much good feed anymore, and I can't tell you anymore, but the Israelis are getting cut off, which is espionage. It's AIPAC. But that's how they set off. They figured out that's how they set off that naval yard shooter. And that was to pay back the U.S. military for stopping the Syrian war, and where they didn't attack their own people with gas, but it was Daddy Bush's al-Qaeda army, the Israelis' private army, which is al-Qaeda, the Gladio boys we're calling them now. It's the same ones in the Ukraine causing all the problems. They've always got to go around and start a war with their private mercenaries, guns for hire, their private army. And they're being paid in many cases like Blackwater in the Ukraine right out of U.S. taxpayers' budget, out of the Pentagon money, where Rumsfeld and them set all this stuff up in the previous ones. Now we got a good guy. Chuck Hagel is trying to clean it up, and General Dempsey. And that's the reason all these generals are being fired. That's the reason all these colonels are being fired. That's the reason all these people at the nuclear different commands are being relieved of duty, because they answer to the crime syndicate, the secret shadow government inside our government, Daddy Bush and the Israeli secret shadow government. Now, we've got more things happening with good people. If you take James Comey, the new FBI director, right after he was sworn in, and he tried to bust him before Eric Holder fired him at the Justice Department. And he'd been there for a number of years. Good guys in our government got him in office in August. What's the first thing he does? He busts Larry Mizell, Leonard Millman, and Daddy Bush, the three controllers here in America. He busts their sex ring, child sex ring in August. Veterans Today, or go to my website, punch in U.S. child sex ring busted, Illuminati escapes, I think was the title. 2,300 kids, 7 to 17 were taken into protective custody. 150 pimps were busted. That was Daddy Bush's crime syndicate. Go back to the audio with Gordon Duff, military intelligence. He admits he is. He said it on the air. Go back to the audio on the front of my site on the right column, 3-hour marathon with Gordon Duff, where he did one with me, came public finally, and he did that audio for 3 hours.
Right.
That one audio, he mentions that in there. But Stu, I bet you didn't know that Leonard Millman and Mizell and Daddy Bush were running a child trafficking and sex child organ ring, where they kill the kids and sell their organs after they use them.
Oh my God.
That's what James Comey busted. Up on the FBI's website this past week, 6 days ago, child trafficking ring busted again. 3-year-old boys to 7-year-old boys.
Oh, Stu, you know what? You know what bothers me the most about what you're telling me? Is I want to throw up because of it. But what bothers me the most.
I keep wanting to say it, but the guy that owns your radio station doesn't like to talk about me cocking my 45 or getting my 50.
You can't do that. I'm sorry. And it's not Mike. Stu, it's not Mike that doesn't want you to do it. It's just that we're on all these networks now, and we'll get kicked off. I can hear it now, Stu.
3-mile solution for the scope, but we'll pass that.
Let's get back. Stu, hold on just a second. I want to say something. I think it's very important that people understand this. My parents are just great people, and I know that a lot of people that listen to the station are just waking up, and what's bothering them the most, I think, when they hear us all talking about all this, the evil Bush syndicate and the Illuminati and all this and child sex rings that are being busted, is that they never see it in the mainstream media. You never hear about it. Like I would tell you,
mainstream media. It's nothing but a lying propaganda machine. Mainstream media is you now, Lorien.
It's Revolution Radio and Stu Webb. That's what it is.
It's mainstream media is Veterans Today, Lorien Fenton, Revolution Radio, and all the other networks where the people really know what's going on and really are talking about it.
Exactly. That's it.
I mean, they're still looking for a missing airplane that landed in San Diego Garcia. U.S. military intelligence put the pictures on Veterans Today, because Veterans Today is a governmental website run by military intelligence, put the pictures of the airplane and parked at the hangar, landed in San Diego Garcia, then went to Pakistan, and then was back in Israel. All the stories and details are up there. I'm Wolf Blitzer. I'm Mega Mossad. This is CNN. Oh, today we're we're getting a transponder, beep, 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 out in the middle of the ocean. Oh, it just suddenly is discovered.
Yeah, right. Suddenly
the only guy that I know that sat in the middle of Iraq's Desert Storm #1 at the top of a hotel room reporting, this is Wolf Blitzer, Mega Mossad. I'm giving you the inside scoop of Gulf War I, Desert Storm battle, and I'm right in the middle of it.
Stu, you're killing me. I'm laughing so hard. You know what? But it's so true. I mean,
so bad. I even have caught myself saying, I got to go turn on the news and see what the propaganda is today. Whoops, excuse me, news? Why am I calling it news?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Go turn the propaganda machine on and read, and let's see what they're trying to put out today.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's my point. My point to everybody listening is 99% of the stuff we get out there, what is it? I listen to it and I go, is this important information? It's never important information. It's nothing that's going to change your life. It's all sensationalized and it's all reality TV now. That's all it's about.
Exactly. And when they don't have something in the way of a propaganda to report on, we're going to go to the murder trial with so-and-so. We're going to have a soap opera on national TV. Let's have soap opera, the girl that kills her boyfriend down in Arizona. We got to keep that in front of the American people for the next year to keep them buzzed. Do you know what their agenda is? I'll tell you what their agenda is. I wrote it down the other day, detailed. Okay, coming right out of the top, people, if I could find it. But here's my memory, because I got such stacks of garbage sitting around me right now. Let's keep the gay scandal alive. Oh, gay scandal. Ooh. Oh, wow.
What gay scandal?
Now, I'm politically correct because the Bible says so. So that makes me politically correct. A gay person, according to the Bible, says they're a sodomite. So I'm going to use the word sodomite. Let's keep sodomite scandal alive. Oh, it's okay for sodomites to marry. What is a sodomite according to God? It's one that's possessed by a demon. Man wasn't made to lay with man, and woman wasn't made to lay with woman. There was two different parts, two different separate bodies. I said enough on that subject. I won't say no more.
Okay, because we're not supposed to talk about that.
It's okay to marry everybody. Got to have those rights. That's one.
Okay.
Got to keep the false flags going to take the guns.
That's true. They're definitely in full gear around that one. I'm just waiting for the next Boston bombing or Sandy Hook or Aurora shooting. I'm waiting for the next one to happen.
You got me jigging now to get my brain going here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay, here it is. Obamacare. Oh, my God, Obamacare. Nobody can afford Obamacare. Oh, you can't afford Obamacare. Here's what the deal is. The insurance companies that the Illuminati own it all and own the banks and they own the hospitals in America. What was the big deal? Oh, my God. We can't any longer take $1 and pay out 3 cents on the dollar and keep 97 cents. Under Obamacare, now we have to pay out 60 cents and we can only keep 40 cents of every dollar.
Right.
So they're going to keep that. The markets are going to crash. The markets are going to crash. The markets aren't going to crash, folks. They own 80% of the entire markets now.
Oh, right.
Your pension funds is 20%, and this is the 12 Illuminati. Own the markets. But, if we keep talking market crash, okay, let's take Friday. It dropped, 100 and some odd, or close to 200 points I saw this morning. Today it was down. The Dow was down 80 some odd points, 84, 86 points this morning. Every time there's a 150-point move in the Dow, they take about $50 billion and stuff it in their pocket of your pension funds that you keep paying in of the company that you work for, they own, because this 12 men only controlled 20% of the economy in 81, and now they're in control of 97% of the economy, and 400 men make more money per year than half the entire 330 million population of the United States. So as you're going to work at your IBM job or whichever major corporation it is, Chevron or wherever it's at, and you're paying into your 401k and they're paying in, oh, well, we're just taking money out of their pocket because we're matching their fund and we're paying in, and all we're going to do is turn around and get our money back when we adjust the markets because we're going to suck the money back out. You keep putting that money in, they use your money, and actually say you got $20,000 you pump in over 10 years. Why is it that after 10 years you only end up with, instead of 20, you only end up with about 10,000 of it every time they move the markets? Remember when the market dropped on May the 6th, 2007, I think it was. I made a whistleblower complaint against Larry Mizell. They manipulated the market. It dropped 1,500 points, and before the end of the day, it recovered by 800. They had to use the Fed window, which means they had to use the banks in order to pull off what they did with 70 different brokerage firms, of which I have the names of, and who was involved, and everything. Do you know how much money they walked away with? $1.5 trillion. And Daddy Bush made the statement because someone I know was listening to him. He says, those stinking Jews They got greedy. They were only supposed to get $750 billion, and they went.
In perspective here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I am noticing that A Mad Painter's guest tonight is my good friend Robert Evans Jr. His Starships Around the Sun website is phenomenal. I hope everybody sticks around for the show tonight, because besides the fact that Robert has monitored the NASA SOHO satellites for years now, he also has run for office. He's quite the guy. He knows quite a bit about the Vatican. And so there we go. He's a very interesting character. I really hope that you guys listen to him. I spent all day Saturday with him and a whole bunch of people, Stephen Bassett, Robert Evans Jr., UFO Jim, Lori McDonald, who's an amazing therapist with experiencers. Anyhow, we just had a great day on Saturday at my MUFON thing. So anyhow, he'll be wonderful to hear after my show tonight. That's A Mad Painter's show, Open Canvas, right after my show here tonight on Revolution Radio. So there you are. Okay, Stu, back at you, guy. Tell me what you were saying there before we cut you off.
Okay, for any of those that weren't listening, this agenda comes right out of Wall Street now. It comes from the Hudson Institute, and it's being pushed to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Anti-government now. We're going to have the Jews, the mob, the Jewish American mafia, Jewish mafia, by Zella Millman and Daddy Bush, the crime syndicate. This is their agenda, to mind rape the American people. Anti-government now. The government's out of control. But their agenda that they're pushing, and you're going to see Wall Street push it, you're going to see the Hudson Institute's pushing it, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. You will see gay marriages. Oh, we got to have them. It's okay to legalize pot. Gun confiscation to save the children, Stop the gangs. Obamacare, bad thing. Insurance companies don't make enough money. Markets are going to crash, so they can keep you thinking, wow, I better take it out, put it back in, take it back out, put it back in. Okay? The whole county sheriffs are going to save us. The county sheriffs are going to save us. The county sheriffs will be the first, if we ever had martial law, that will be there arresting you, not the military folks. Don't believe Alex Jonestein. The military, they're going to arrest us, Donate to me and I'm going to save you. I'm Alex Jonestein. Excuse me. Depka.
Okay, now wait, Stu. I'm laughing so hard I had to mute.
Information from the Israeli Mossad along with Glenn Beck about the Boston bombing. All right. Depka disinformation. Depka is the Israeli news service. Disinformation. So I can talk about this clown. I've got a story up there on my up on Veterans Today. Now I'm not, I'm on your radio network, so I don't want to get too out of hand.
Yes, you can't get too out of hand.
They're against the Constitution. Executive orders. In 1933, under the Emergency War Powers Act, and ever since and still up today, executive orders have always been used. That's the reason they always keep a war alive. But all of a sudden, Fox News, the Israeli news network, that's so off the charts, that owns 99% of print media in America, Rupert Greenberg, Murdoch, Rupert Greenberg. Okay?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Let's say
executive orders. Bill O'Reilly, Mr. C.I. Spin Dr. Bush, crime family stooge. Oh, executive orders, folks. Luggerhead, Sean Hannity. Oh, executive orders, folks. Oh,
okay, Stu, you made your point. Now let's talk about
the other thing is the asteroids are going to wipe out the planet. The asteroids are going to wipe out the planet.
Well, now, wait a minute. Wait. Now, stop. Here, listen to me for just a second. Weren't you one of the people back in December that said there was a good possibility of an asteroid hitting our planet?
There not only a good possibility, they put a parachute on it. The U.S. military took its flying saucers out there, hooked a parachute on it, eyes on, and on its sister to get it diverted. One of them went between the Earth and the Moon.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that.
And one of them hit back in, when was it, December or January? I think it was January. One hit a military satellite that knocked out, where the NSA was using it, knocked out phone service to cell phones for over 4 hours until they could divert it to another satellite where they were spying on everybody.
Right, exactly.
Now that happened. Now we just had one. I mean, it was all over the mainstream propaganda showing it here not long ago, 3 weeks ago. A big rock asteroid the size of a football field went flying between the Earth and the Moon again. I said back in November, those two were a major concern. They were supposed to impact. They put the parachutes on them. They call them solar sails.
Right,
Government has, we got 150 flying saucers in our arsenal. I got John Blair to admit it on a couple programs. He's been on your program before.
Yeah, well...
His dad
Joel
was
Blair says quite a few things, and then he gets cut off. So, we got to take that into account.
Now, he admitted that his dad had built, that we have approximately 150 in U.S. Arsenal. Go to my website, left column, look for radio interviews, Stu Webb and John Blair. In the last two shows that I did with him, probably 3 weeks to a month ago, he admitted that.
Yeah,
we got 150 of them.
Yep.
Matter of seconds, they're into outer space. We don't need space shuttles and all that garbage or rockets with men strapped in a
Oh, I know. It's such the secret space program. I bought that up on several of the shows I've been interviewed on, and there's just too many guys out there that and women, and a lot of women I'm just surprised about, that back in the 80s in the military were being used subversively. Of course, they were mind controlled into it. On these ships, being taken out to the moon base and other places to do work, and then they were like scopolamine or something into forgetting that they were even out there. They were taken like on buses to Area 51 and sent out into space, brought back, and then taken home after the supposed mission out at the base for 2 weeks, doing whatever. And then they come home, and then years later they realize they don't remember 3 months of their life.
Yep.
And they're going, what the heck happened?
I know several people over the years, after 30 years of hearing all this stuff, I know several people that's happened to. Now, with that said, yes, we have a major threat this month, next month, and into May. We have asteroids and we have meteors coming at us right now that they can only see 10 days into the future. All of a sudden, they're there and they're going, which way is it going? They're appearing that quick. And they know this is the bombarding period of time. Now, let's talk about the Mayan calendar that was supposed to happen in December of 2012. That never happened, and your good friend Carrie Cassidy sat over at her pyramid waiting for the laser lights to come out of a pyramid. You better tell her to go over there at Easter time and wait for the lights to come out of the pyramid. Because on Easter this month, the 20th of April, our planets are all lining up in the big cross that was supposed to happen during the Mayan calendar in December of 2012 that never occurred.
Well, why is it happening now? Did we have it all wrong, or what was the deal?
Apparently the dates are wrong. Now, a friend of mine told me about all this stuff, and I think I talked to you off the air about it in many conversations in the past.
Yes.
Before, 6 months before the December 22nd, 2012 time frame comes, I was told by this guy that in space-time that they're looking through the super collider out of Switzerland, they can't see past that cross. Once that cross happens, he says, what is this, Stu? Maybe the end of the world. Maybe it's the return of Christ. Who knows? Now, that's supposed to happen on Easter. Not Easter, but Passover, whatever you want to call it, the resurrection. After the resurrection of Christ, the celebration is Easter, but the word Easter means Estar, the fertilization of an egg. You got the satanic crap always coming into the Christian belief, like Christmas trees in the middle, Santa Claus. If you read in the Bible, it says abomination to bring Christmas trees and decorate them with ornaments. You could ask yourself, why did Hillary Clinton, it's in that one book by that FBI agent, why did she, decorate her Christmas tree with crack pipes, dildos, and condoms, the White House tree? And Tipper Gore was so mad, she says, how dare you desecrate my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, she punched Hillary and knocked her on her rear end and got thrown out of the White House that night by Secret Service at the Christmas party. It's in that one Secret Service agent's book. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That's wild.
I know
I've
Al
never heard
Gore.
that
He did a
story
great
before.
You know, I've never told the story, but Al Gore, when I moved back to Kansas City in 2004, after being held by federal agents, you know, for 10.5 months as a political prisoner, there were 2 fake DUIs out of 13 they threw on me in Kansas City trying to arrest me, and all of them were always dismissed with, I wasn't drinking and driving, okay? They were trying to hammer me for going to the FBI in 86. So 86 to 91, I paid $50,000 attorney fees to get me out of the garbage that they were setting me up in. While I was causing national scandals on their head with those 4 congressional investigations between 88 and 91, when they found out it was me, they decided, oh, we're going to shut him down. We're going to make him political prisoner. So they did. Well, when I got out, while you're being held as a federal prisoner, if you have any outstanding warrants, which I did at that point in time because I went hiding from the FBI, so here's these 2 Kansas City fake DUI charges, you know, they were supposed to be dismissed. Otherwise, feds won't turn you loose. They call them, say, do you want to transport him? Do you want to charge him? No, we're going to dismiss him. So then once they were dismissed, they released me. I'm back in Kansas City. I triggered an alarm in a friend's house, woke up one morning. She went up to grab us a McDonald's or grab some cigarettes or something, and I didn't realize her alarm was on. And I open up her door, and it kicks off the alarm. Well, she left her cell phone there, so I couldn't call her. They punched the code to shut the thing off because I went out to smoke a cigarette. And the cops come knocking on the door, and then they take information from me, and then they leave. They come back 5 minutes later, and they arrest me on 2 14-year-old DUIs that had already been dismissed. So you know, I go plead before one judge, and he dismissed it, and then the other judge, oh, no, he re-arrests me on the same one that was dismissed downstairs. His name was Cockroach. Rocha. Judge Rocha. So if you listen, Judge Rocha, Kansas City, Missouri Municipal Court, I want you to hear this.
You know, Stu, I want to thank you. No, you got to stop. You just got to stop for a second. Because I got to thank you for coming on the show today and making me laugh. Because I haven't had this much fun in days and weeks and months. Seriously, I thought to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today. Because you are truly helping me out right now.
The only thing I laugh at anymore is covert operations. It's the only thing that turns me on.
I hear ya.
Just having sex with a good-looking girl.
Uh-oh. Were we supposed to say that on our station? Yeah. I think we can.
I think that's appropriate. But Albert Gore, a phone call was made from a friend about the fact that they had illegally arrested me. He says, go down and file a federal suit against them, Stu. Just draft one up yourself. So I did that. And I served it. And, of course, the charges were later dismissed by this other judge after I screamed and yelled at that roach, a cockroach, we call him. And he was a Bush Crime Family Syndicate judge. Well, Albert Gore put them all under federal investigation because it was underneath his watch as vice president when they turned me loose. So he was able to get a grand jury. So he ordered federal agents to do an investigation. And as a result, all the Kansas City judges got kicked off the bench. 2006, thank you, Al Gore. 2 went to jail. One went to a halfway house. The other one went to jail for 18 to 24 months for bribes. Cockroach had 9 months to go to get a $150,000 retirement. He was dirty to the hilt. He got $10,000 a year retirement, kicked out the door, and now he's out there trying to practice law and feed himself, and he can't do it because he's a roach. He lived off the public trough.
Yeah.
So I'm, that's a story.
Well,
you
know what we got to do now, Stu, is we got to open up the phone lines. I really want everybody.
I want to tell you what the future is. I want to tell everybody what I know.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, do that. Then let me, Stu, tell everybody the phone number to call in on Studio A today is 347-688-2902. That's 347-688-2902. This is your chance to talk to Stu Webb because I usually don't take phone calls, but today I am because I think it's very important that that everybody out there listening today has a chance to ask Stu your questions yourself, okay? So, Stu, I just want to get that out there one more time, 347-688-2902. Please call in, ask Stu a question, and there we go. So, Go ahead, Stu.
Okay, now here's what we can all look at. We've got on Easter a full cross of all the planets lining up. On the 15th, around the 15th, we have what's called a blood red moon coming. It's once in every 1,400, 1,600 years. Full moon, blood red. And we have on the same day a solar eclipse across the sun. That's really interesting. Now, we've had earthquakes. California, Los Angeles, 2 of them back-to-back, week apart, 5.1 each are in that neighborhood with aftershocks of 50 of them, 40 or 50 of them with up 4 point to 5 point Richter. We had the one off of Chile, 8 point something. We had a volcano go off down there in Central America. When was it? 2 days ago. We got the volcano up in Wyoming shaking, 5.1 on the Richter last week. We have all these signs happening right now. Okay, that thing in Yellowstone, if it blows, they're saying 650 kilometers in diameter, 20 feet of ash. Do you know what that's going to do?
Oh my God!
Around the 15th, we have what's called.
Who's on the phone?
Yeah, hold on
Caller,
a second.
please mute.
Okay.
Now, not only do we have all these problems with planet and all these meteors coming at us over the next 2 months, this month and next month in particular, we have all this weird activity happening with planet Earth. But we also have this Jewish equation. It's called the Mafia. Leonard Millman and Larry Mizell, the Israeli Mafia, the Jewish mob, Israeli Mafia, Jewish mob, AIPAC, the American Israeli PAC, the guys who have done all these bad things to us with Daddy Bush. Now, let me tell you what a 16 intelligence agencies report read. This is 16 U.S. Intelligence agencies, all of our agencies that there are, said last September. It said Daddy Bush, George W. Bush, Neil Bush, Jeb Bush, Marvin Bush, the Bush family, Bill and Hillary Clinton, Leonard Millman, Larry Mizell, Norman Brownstein, and members of AIPAC, among others, B'nai B'rith, Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the cell in Denver, Colorado, were all tied to the Jonathan Pollard spy ring. Now, has Jonathan Pollard come up in the so-called mainstream media lately? Yeah. Tied to the spy ring that set us back in our nuclear capabilities and the protection of America through the Middle East and through Russia for anywhere from 10 to 20 years. 1,000 CIA agents in the field were killed as a result of that spy ring. It said the people that I just named, Bush's, Millman's, Mizel's, AIPAC, the group, including Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and part of the Likud government, by the way, were not only involved in the Jonathan Pollard spy ring, but they have looted the savings and loans, done the junk bond daisy chains. They have done big government contract fraud against the government, such as the Denver airport. There was a $500 million that went to over $20 billion when it was completed, and other projects. Have robbed and looted the government, have created $100 trillion worth of mortgages that led to $5,000 trillion worth of illegal derivatives that robbed and looted the whole planet, and they took over the economies of everybody, which was bank bailout. Now they have stolen 12.5 million houses from people illegally that are paying their mortgages. Now I'm finding widows, 6 of them. Their houses are paid for by the insurance companies, but yet they're coming in and stealing their homes, saying that they own them and auction them. Most bizarre stuff. I'm getting ready to do a whole report on the mortgage fraud. Explain it.
Yes.
But
and we'll have you on for that, too.
They've also been involved in espionage against the United States of America at the highest level. They stole nuclear material out of America and sold it to our enemies, such as North Korea, which now has the nuke bomb. It tested it a few months back last year and proved that they could hit the United States with a nuke bomb. They shot a nuke bomb down in Africa. North Korea did. That nuclear material, it was just declassified, a CIA report. I haven't put it up on my website, and I'll explain why in a minute. But it was declassified here just 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, by the CIA. It was stolen out of Pennsylvania. Now, that was part of it. The other part's Rocky Flats, which I'm in the middle of a story on, and how it was done. 2,000 pounds of plutonium that's missing out of Rocky Flats that the Israelis took. Millman, Mizell, Daddy Bush, etc. All part of this game. Now, you can ask yourself, is there any truth to the Bush family that the grandfather, not Prescott, but the one before him, changed his name from Scherf to Bush?
I've always wondered about that. Why?
The Bush?
Yeah, why?
They didn't want the identity shown, the fake Jew, the Khazarian. Ask yourself a question. If you were named that you had done all these bad things, including, listen to this, the 16 Intelligence Agency report said they blew up the Oklahoma City building in 1995, the Murray building, and they attacked America on the day of 9/11. Now, if you had done any one of those things, where would you be, Lorien Fenton? In a prison cell.
In jail.
Exactly. They aren't. Now, it's because they control your Congress and Senate with their APEC money. How do they do that? They make these big contributions. How does it work? They can convert that APEC money at any time. Their campaign contributions under law that they changed and redesigned to take their bribes. At any time, they can take a chunk of that money and convert it to personal income, pay income tax on it, and that's how they get their bribes.
Mm-hmm.
And they put their stooges in there. They're all answering Israel. And you got part of them taking drug money from Afghanistan, keeping the war alive, like John McCain.
Yeah.
He's one perfect example. Sits on Armed Services Committee at Senate Armed Services, keeps the war alive in Afghanistan, keeps Guantanamo Bay, Cuba alive so they can run CIA shadow government redemption flights, supposedly transporting prisoners so they can haul the heroin into America, which we have a heroin epidemic in America. And we sit around and let this happen? Now, these people are caught. Their NSA satellite base over there has been identified. Their espionage against America has been identified. There's a movement to clean it up. There's good people inside your government trying to do their best. They're out there asking the American people on a continuous basis through me and many other people, recall all the Congress and Senate, recallpetitions.com. It tells you how to do it. There it is. Yep. Did they sign the Patriot Act? Did they sign the NDAA Act? Did they sign off to take your guns?
That's
Any
right.
one of those things is a reason. A violation of their oath of office to uphold and defend and support the Constitution. There's a boilerplate right there. All you do is pull down that petition, change it. Was it gun control, NDAA Act, or Patriot Act? Just change those little words and change the congressman or senator's name. And go file it with the Secretary of State and start your recall. Go get your voting list, print them out, get people out standing in front of shopping centers, Walmarts, and asking people for ID to say that they want to sign it and that they're a voter, a registered voter, so you don't turn in bad signature in the required time. There's a video on how to do it, everything. Recall petitions. It's right there. Now, the second thing is do what Bruce Campbell suggests. Former mercenary, former military officer. He's involved in this, trying to get the American people motivated up off their rear end to do something instead of running around with a sign in front of the Federal Reserve or Occupy, pulling up signs or fighting the cops and getting tear gas and sprayed and all that stupid stuff. Go get constructive. Go knock on your neighbor's door where the cop doesn't see you so he can't tear gas you. The little Nazi in the street of America, Zionist Nazi, trained by the Israeli Mossad now, all the cops. Instead, go knock on your neighbor's door and create your crime watch.
Right.
By knocking on your neighbor's door, educate your neighbor of what's going on. Tell them to listen to Lorien Fenton and Revolution Radio. Tell them to tune into Veterans Today, Stu Webb, whatever. Wherever your favorite place for the news is. Talk to them. Get them patriotic. Get them involved. Set up what Bruce Campbell says, AmericanDefenseParty.com. Set up your police oversight committees, civilian oversight committees. Force it down your city council. Take 500 people to city council meeting, part of your town, and tell them you want a police oversight committee. So if a cop breaks and violates the law and illegally arrests you or illegally tickets you or beats you or shoots and kills somebody, that cop is no longer a cop. He violated someone's civil and constitutional rights. He goes to prison. And if the city council says, no, we're not going to do that, guess what? I'm going to recall you, sucker, and I'm getting rid of you.
Yeah.
So we go to
Hey,
the local
Stu?
level, why we're going to the national level. Now,
Exactly.
here's
Now,
where we're at.
Stu, we have to stop for just a second because we do have to take this caller that's been patiently waiting and let him ask your question, and we'll go back to that, okay? I promise you. Okay. So, area code 352, what is your question for Stu Webb today?
Hi, Lorien. This is Glenn Kennedy, and I just wanted to congratulate you for putting on a great show tonight with Stu, my buddy there. And just wanted to tell you that I'm really impressed that, you know, you guys are the hardcore people that are putting Stu on the air, and I really appreciate that. Because as Stu talked about, you know, we're sick of these Alex Jonesteins, you know, these frauds, these guys that are just gatekeepers. And Lorien, I don't know, did you ever see the article that I wrote for Veterans Today about Alex?
I have glanced at it, and please forgive me, I just haven't had a chance to read it all the way through, but Stu was telling me about it last week, and I've got to get there and read it, but I highly recommend that everybody listening today does read that article. Why don't you repeat that for everybody?
Yeah, I just want to tell them how to get to it. I posted it just now on your Facebook page, so it is on Lorien Fenton's Facebook page, but
Great.
If you're not friends with her, you don't know how to get to her page, all you got to do is just Google Open Letter to the Alternative Media, Veterans Today, and that'll pull it up.
Webb.com, middle column, latest story I put up. Glenn wrote the thing. He sent it to me, the link. He stuck it up on another website. And I said, you know what, Glenn? It needs to be put on Veterans Today because you're telling the truth. So I put it up there, and I added some links to it. Matter of fact, down at the very bottom, which is including a radio show with Gordon Duff, of which I had hosted the show that night on another network. And I put Gordon on, and we talked about the Boston bombing, and he talked about the fact that here comes Glenn Beck and Alex Jones, Boston bombing, doing exactly what U.S. intelligence picked up that the Israelis were going to put out as far as their fictional story on Boston bombing. Who was the first to hit their feet running? Alex Jones and Glenn Beck. It's right there.
Yeah, saying that it was a real bombing and, oh, you know, it was a false flag when the whole thing was fake. And he knows it, and that's his masters. And I woke up about Alex after about 3 years of supporting him, because everybody goes through this stage, you know, like you want to believe in Santa Claus. You know, but you know, when you find out the truth about Alex, it's sort of like when you find out Santa Claus isn't real.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. It's Lorien Fenton, the Fenton Perspective here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Boy, have we got quite the show going here today. We've got Stu Webb with us, and we have Glenn Kennedy on the line as well. And Glenn is the author of an amazing story about the Alex Jones. I think, is Glenn Beck mentioned in there, Glenn?
Yeah, he's briefly, but I pretty much went up to the top of the pyramid of the shills because, you know, Alex Jones is so far above Beck as far as, you know, he spreads more truth, of course. I mean, Beck is like 10 times worse than Jones, but Jones is the worst because he pretends like he's not censoring anything, and he pretends like he's telling you all the truth. And here I find out, you know, from my friendship with Stu Webb and meeting all these other whistleblowers that, you know, Alex Jones has actually aided the Illuminati. He's actually aided the bad guys.
Yeah.
Well, how has he done that? He's told me all this truth. Well, I'll tell you exactly how he's done it. Stu can verify this. I mean, it was about 10 years ago, maybe 12. I don't know. Stu can tell you. But before Stu woke up about Alex, when he first started coming out big time, he went to Alex. And Alex and people that he worked for visited him and got documents and brought them back to Alex and said, hey, this guy's for real. You really need to get him on the show. And so Alex would start talking to Stu and pumping for information. And then there was always some excuse why, oh, we can't get you on the show this week, but, oh, we're going to get you on the show, right, Stu? He kept delaying you until you finally got word from your buddies that he was a shill. Well, here's the deal. Now, as you can see, if you go on StuWebb.com, you've got all these people from the good guys in U.S. intelligence, Gordon Duff and all the rest of the guys, that are telling you right there that Stu Webb is the hero. He is the guy that gave them key information on these American Illuminati families, the Millmans, the Mizels, the Bushes. And in that interview in my article, Gordon Duff says that Daddy Bush is worth over $60 trillion, which,
right.
Has Alex Jones ever told you that? No. Has Alex Jones ever mentioned the name Millman or Mizell worth $30 trillion each, and also members of the Illuminati families? No. Why would he not do that when he knows full well about them? Because he goes on Stu Webb and Veterans Today every day by their IP tracks. Well, you can only make the assumption if he's censoring these families, he must work for them. So Alex Jones is a Benedict Arnold traitor. I'll tell that to his face. I don't care. I want this man in handcuffs. I will not stop until he's either in handcuffs or somebody else replaces him that will not censor. And the one thing I want to tell everybody here that's hearing my voice is that if you see an Alex Jones post, you need to wake them up. You need to wake them up if they're posting Glenn Beck or Sean Hannity the fake or Rush Limbaugh, any of them. Put links to Veterans Today, put links to Revolution Radio, put links to Lorien's show, put links to where they're not censoring the people at Veterans Today, because let's face it, Stu, I don't know if you've ever told him this, and I don't know if you want to, but the guys at Veterans Today are building cases or, against the bad guys, basically. They've done some things that Stu probably hasn't even told you. And I won't say it because I don't know if he wants me to, but the bottom line is this. They're doing massive things behind the scenes. What is Alex Jones doing? He wouldn't even bring the people that brought on the recalls in Colorado that got rid of 2 gun grabbers. Wake up, people. They were begging patriots around the world, around the country, to pick up the ball. They used their templates, and people like Lorien and people like Veterans Today and all the real people were out there telling their story. And here Alex Jones, the fake, oh, I'm all about solutions. He wouldn't even bring them on the show. The only thing that worked in the last year, and this stooge wouldn't even bring him on the show. And here's the other thing: if you don't understand that he's fake, I remember him saying this on his own show. He even said, "I'm just going to sue the mayor of Austin for putting fluoride in the water. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." He hasn't done it. He's made millions of dollars from suckers like me before I woke up, and all of you out there that ever bought anything from Alex Jones.
I was one of those suckers too. I went into a bank one day when they were demanding something from me. I said, "You people all need to listen to Alex Jones." I'm in there. Top of my lungs screaming, and later I realized how used I felt. I was like, oh my God, this guy does nothing.
Right.
He got mind raped.
When I had a radio show, like yours, and with somebody else, the partner with that, before we even knew before I woke up to the fact that he's a stooge, he tried to call Alex 300 times to just make a 10-minute appearance on our show, which at the time was the top 5 show in its category. Sent 300 emails to this tip-of-the-spear stooge. Guess how many responses we got back from this guy that's supposed to be here I'm here to build people up. Guess how many responses we got back? 0.
Yeah.
0. They all go in the trash can. I've got the tapes of him in my article saying that he admits that half his family's CIA, but yet we're supposed to figure that he has no ties to DHS and government and the bad guys in our government, but yet he runs away from solution and stabs patriots like Stu Webb in the back, while Lorien and Revolution Radio and the real people like Mike Harris and Rents Radio, hats off to him for doing it. But anybody that's not putting on Stu Webb or the Patriots at Veterans Today, or if you can't find Veterans Today articles on their site like Jones, they are a stooge. Because Stu Webb, I call him kryptonite to the bad guys. They can't handle him. I mean, they can't handle Stu. It makes them just melt away like the Wicked Witch of the West. So just be careful out there. And
You
I
know,
want
Glenn,
everybody.
that is the best description I've ever heard of Stu. He looks like a green kryptonite super soldier walking around killing the Alex Joneses of the world. I love it.
You know, I'm bowing to both of you right now, you know. I'm just for you to say that.
I'm just sick of the fakes, you know. I'm not running away. I'm on Facebook. If you want to friend me, my name's Glenn Kennedy, Canady. Stu, friend him, friend Lorien. We're not running away. But you try to get a response from Alex Jones. Oh, he always even says on his radio show, I turned down all these interviews because I'm just too busy. But yeah, if he was real, even if he was busy, he'd have his second and third in command go on these shows, on these mainstream shows. I mean, what a fraud. Oh, I'm just not going to go on, 2020, or I'm not going to go on some show because I just don't feel like it. It's like, you stooge. It's like, even if you're busy, go put somebody else on there. And I just want everybody out there, we're going to win this thing by exposing these frauds. So don't let these people post Alex Jones articles without waking them up, because I tell you, I've already woken up thousands of people just in the last few weeks. I mean, I search for Alex Jones posts everywhere I can. I wake those people up, and it's working great. And he's worried about it. You know, he's taking off all this extra time. Doesn't want to answer the phones too much anymore, and he's shying away from the phone.
I'm going to add to the extra time right now and out it.
Go ahead.
Everybody listening, go look at Alex Jones, a couple of his videos, and look at Lorien McAdoo. And look at the Google eyes going on between the two of them, and ask yourself how come Alex Jones has been taken off a couple times a week off of his radio program. I'm not going to even say it or insinuate it. I don't have to. Look at the Google eyes going on between the two of them. I wonder if his wife knows about those Google eyes happening. Figure it out, folks.
Well, you know, Stu, you and I were talking about this the other day, and I got to say, every wife knows what's going on. Believe me, we all know.
Or his Jewish handler wife, whose father was a State Department person who cooked the books on expenses, stuffed a lot of bread in his pocket, went on extra escapades and special dinners, why he was on government payroll at the State Department. But yet when he got caught, he got his hands slapped. Instead of being fired, going to prison, he paid a small fine, and it wasn't even what he stuck in his pocket. Okay? Figure that one out.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, is I don't know anything about that. And Stu's got all the inside scoop. I only put
a video tape of Lorien McAdoo and Alex Google Eye, and, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
See, Alex,
go ahead, Glenn.
He's
Well,
committed treason and sedition.
I just want to say about, I could care less about his Jewish wife, but here's the thing. If she is an agent of some type, this was what doesn't make sense to me, and Stu does have inside information on this, because he had to deal with her when they were trying to pretend like they were going to put him on the show. And I think, Stu, you told me this story, which really got me suspicious, because he always portrays his wife as, just she's at home taking care of the kids and has nothing to do with the show, which is, as far as I knew, just listening, that's what I thought, because he never mentioned anything about her activities. But Stu, tell him about the time you were talking to her and told her to get on some Secret Service guy because it was your friend, and remember what she said?
The story is that John Carmen, ex-Secret Service, that protected President Ford in the White House, had gone over to DEA or Customs, and he found out about all the drug smuggling in California and stuff, and of course he tried to bust it up and couldn't do it. And later, it's bizarre what John had gone through. He's got customscorruption.com. But John spent some time in jail. They made him political prisoner here in the late 2000 time frame. But he called him up because he was scheduled to be on that show, and his wife says, "Oh, we can't put you on here. We can't put you on here." And the basic reason is because we would be in trouble if we put you on here. Let me tell you what Alex Jones did. He had this guy named, I'm trying to think of his name, another talk show host on the network. One was John Stapmiller. Stapmiller came and saw me sometime around 2002, sat in my home 2 different times. So he was going to visit his mother in Wisconsin or Michigan, wherever it was. It was way back to Texas and on the way up. And he was doing co-hosting with Alex on Saturday. He had a show during the week. He put me on a couple of times, and Joe says, "You can't put him on. You can't put him on." So Jeremy Floyd was the guy. So Jeremy had a show in the evening on his network. They wanted to bury me over there to shut me up. Well, it happened to be that I brought several whistleblowers on. One whistleblower was on his airway talking about the fact that Ted Gunderson had sent a SWAT team in to have me killed, and it didn't work, accusing me of taking documents out of his condo, of which I never did do. Then he couldn't, that was his form of extortion, because he was after documents I had about a public administrator so he could extort him and get paid from a killer in Las Vegas he defended that was all illegal. Now, Glenn had on the reporter from Las Vegas at the time that was doing the stories, and she verified all the stuff because she testified when I put a restraining order against him, etc. When the person brought up, this whistleblower brought up the fact that Ted Gunderson had done that to me, in 1999 or 2000, whatever it was, immediately Alex Jones interfered and said, "We're going to commercial," and cut her off, and immediately said, "Your guest is no longer hooked up and not going to be. If you want to read the news, read the news." He did, and Floyd in it had words, and Jeremy Floyd quit the next morning after words with Alex Jones over that. Alex Jones brings on, I'll cite you another example. A guy named Jim Mars. He used to be a reporter with the Dallas Morning News. He goes on all the time with Alex Jones. Jim Mars happened to be in town. The Uptown Theater in Kansas City is a patriotic guy that owns a place, a lawyer, and the Uptown is quite famous here in Kansas City. They created a conspiracy room. So different patriots here were having meetings on occasion, bringing in different guests, and Jim Mars was one of them. And a friend of mine calls me up, and he says, "Hey, Stu, Jim Mars is going to be in town." I said, "Yeah, well, okay, I'll come down." So I went down there, and maybe 60, 70 people were there. After he got through with the speech and all the other stuff, I walked up to him, and I shook his hand. And my 2 friends that had, one of them that had put on the meeting, introduced me. I said, they said, "Oh, Jim, have you met Stu Webb?" "Stu Webb?" He shook my hand. He goes, "Stu Webb, the whistleblower?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, man, I get half the information from my books and reports off your website." Well, of course, that impressed my friends, because quite frankly.
Hey, Stu, your volume is breaking up. Are you close to your microphone?
No, but Jim Mars I'll repeat, Jim Mars made the statement. He says, "I get half my information from my books and reports from your website, Stu." I said, "Well, good." I said, "Keep up the good work." Well, I didn't know he goes on Alex Jones all the time. But the point that I'm making, I believe the point that Glenn's making is, look, we have alternative stooges out here, and this is the reason I publicized this on my website, what Glenn had wrote, and published it. It needed to be told. It's like Gunderson was a stooge. There's a whole FBI network out here of them. That Ken Adachi's been dead for years, but you have this Sentinel County Sheriff that has the website educateyourself.org, does slanderous things against everybody, including myself. These are one of the links to that website, and the story that I publicized on Veterans Today about Jones being a gatekeeper, that he had written. And then I threw in the stuff Veterans Today had outed Jones before many times, including over the Boston bombing. Gordon Duff did, and Gordon's got millions of dollars, hundreds of millions at his disposal with the government to do investigations at any time, military intelligence. So, as he said this guy is working for DEPCA, the Israeli Disinformation Mossad News Organization, right along with Drake, what's his name? I call him, his real name's Drake, the Drudge Report.
Yeah, Drudge Report.
You know, Drudge Report, Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly. I mean, the list goes on. Well, they needed somebody in the alternative media to do this, and that's the reason Alex Jones has become, you know, one of the larger ones, like John Stokes. But Stokes is an honest guy. He's not a stooge like Jones. It's always the boogeyman's going to come get you. Martial law is going to happen. The military's going to arrest you. They're bringing foreign troops in to arrest you. All that's disinformation, folks. If there was ever martial law, it's the local police, local sheriffs, all part of FEMA. It isn't going to be your military, and now it definitely won't be your military. If Rumsfeld had his way, it might have been. He puts out this disinformation that all these generals and colonels and everybody being fired are good guys. No, they aren't. He promotes, oh, I'm against minimum wage. I'm against minimum wage. Minimum wage ought to be around 20 or 25 bucks an hour with the economy the way it is for anybody to survive. I mean, they can't survive on a 6-something an hour or whatever it is at the current time. I mean, he's contrary to everything. It's all about money. Well, ask yourself, you know, why is it that they put him suddenly on Piers Morgan show? That was a big show. Oh, I'm going to kick your butt. I'll go into the back room with you in the ring with you. Well, I got a saying right here and now. Oh, yeah, meet me in the ring, punk. Whoever beats each other up.
Stu, I got to cut you off, my friend, because the show's going to end any second now. So I just want everybody to know that